is here, and I love adding color to my urban jungle.
It's a discount flowers sort of day.
I got these flowers that were on clearance at my grocery store for about $2 a piece.
An easy way to brighten your space.
They look lovely.
Plus, the hammering technique.
Oh my gosh, this poor baby.
It's worked for me not once, twice,
I'm sorry.
but now thrice.
Look at those roots.
I'll show you how to easily access your root-bound plants without disrupting them.
Because, you know, the energy is like, what's going on? And the plant's like, we don't have space.
And a work-from-home redesign, a fun way to jazz up your remote room.
What all of this means is our big goal today is this Anthurium crystallinum. So let's get to it. Okay, here's the first thing that you need to know about us plant people, us plant parents, those of us who dedicate probably 99% of our lives to doing plant stuff. Our homes can get, you know, a little bit messy because of plant care. I will say this to my credit, I keep my place in pretty tip-top condition, but there are instances where when I'm doing repotting and stuff like that, soil gets around. But my number one rule is to always clean up as soon as you are done with a plant project. So I always try to stick to that. Speaking of which, we have a couple plant projects to get to today. First things first, though, I got these flowers that were on clearance at my grocery store for about $2 a piece, and they look lovely. So what I wanted to do first was just chop them up and put them in a little vase because, you know, spring is here, and I love adding color to my urban jungle, and I figured why not take some discount color and sprinkle it into the mix a little bit. And I really do love these two colors together, like a purple and a yellowish gold. In fact, when I went to high school in upstate New York, that was the color of my high school. So this will either bring in some beauty into my urban jungle or bring back some painful, traumatic high school childhood memories. So we'll figure that out, though, when we cross that road. So because this was on discount, of course, there's going to be some little dead leaves, but that's okay because they're flowers. They're only meant to last for a little bit. And so I will deal with it. I just threw in those leaves without having a trash bag in my trash can. This is how much of a mess I am right now. It is a plant chores evening. I've been having a long last 2 work weeks, and so the only time I really get to work on my plants is either on the weekends or late in the evenings after I run my chores and errands. And so I went over to the grocery store earlier to pick up some food and saw those lovely flowers, so I got them there. And also, keep in mind, too, if you've watched my past videos, you know that I am in real life, my real life job, not my, you know, plant life, Kevin, is I'm a content creator for a global company. And so creating content all day and then working on other content like plant content in the evening can be a little draining sometimes. And so if you see those weeks that go by where there are no videos posted by me, rest assured I am likely still alive, but you know, I'm just kind of tired and want to stay away from content creation. Although I do love watching a lot of content creation, although I am a content creator. But yeah, I just wanted to do a little plant chores day. I figure, you know what, this video might not be as exciting as other videos have been, but this is also the reality of plant parenting, and that is the fact that not everything's really exciting, like putting together a moss pole for a 20-foot tall or 12-foot tall plant. You know, you have your good days, your fun days, and then you just have your meh, boring plant days. But it's all just part of the mix, and I suppose that's kind of like reality, right? I mean, not every day is exciting. Not with an attitude like I have right now. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad, though, that I'm actually getting around to some of these smaller plant chores that are going on because I've been meaning to get to them for a little bit now. I'm curious to know in the comments below, what is your plant chore weekly routine like? Do you do stuff throughout the day, or is it mostly in the evenings, on the weekends? How often are you able to get to your plants to take care of them? I'm just curious to know because maybe there's something I can do differently, or, you know, just try to get different hobbies. No, I will never give up my plant hobbies. I love my plants too much. They are my babies. Yes, I want to mix these two together. I don't know what kind of flowers these are. I don't know much about flowers. I'm a plant person. Um, like plants. Even though my plants flower. But I don't know if they even say on here. Pom poms? Sure, pom poms. Great, awesome, wow. I know what they are now. They're pom poms. I don't know. They were pretty and they were $2, so I was like, why not? Sell through the 12th, and so that was being recorded today, the 12th. So they're like, you know what, we need to get rid of these things. These things aren't going to last much longer, which is okay and understandable, and I accept that and respect that about flowers. By the way, you're probably noticing that my lights are starting to dim because as I'm filming this, it is 9:46 p.m. and my lights are all hue lights in my living room, except for the grow lights, and in my kitchen. And so at 9:45, I automatically have them set to start uh, dimming down and then fading to black within 15 minutes. So, I'm gonna have to reset this whole light situation here in a second. So, why don't we just put these in here after I cut them, and as you guys just go, it goes completely pitch black. You can't see me. You have no idea that I'm even here anymore. Let's see here. Water these babies down. And I never used to get into flowers. Like, I get flowers for loved ones and stuff like that, but never really just for myself, just to kind of have in my urban jungle as something kind of beautiful. But I really do like flower arrangements after kind of messing around and playing around with them. So I think this will be fun. And this and this is what I enjoy about getting closer to being 40 years old, because I'm 39 and I'll be 40 in August. But I like the fact that, wow, doing flower arrangements is fun. This is how I spend my time now. Oh, I do love that though. It does look lovely. Um, so basically just mixing these two colors together. And I think even though it kind of to me looks more like a fall color, I think that for a fall display, I feel like once it's mixed in with the other colors that are here in my urban jungle, that they'll bounce off of each other and play really well together. So I think that'll look really actually kind of sharp. And so I'm excited for that. Oh no, I just ruined a flower. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. There's plenty here. Oh, that looks so cute. Okay, here we go. How's that look? Okay, now that you got a good hand look at it, let's fix this light situation. Well, look at that. Light situation has been solved, and so has the flower arrangement, which I'm putting over here for the time being. I like it there right now, but I guarantee you by tomorrow I will not like it, and I will move it around probably a million other times like I do with so many other different kinds of plants. But I really do love the way that those colors are popping off of one another, especially when you have that beautiful violet Phalaenopsis orchid just up ahead, surrounded by so many other pretty plants. Pretty plants indeed. This next plant sure was absolutely rude of me, and I don't know if you guys noticed when I was potting up or putting those flowers in the water, that right off to the side of me was a giant cutting of a philodendron Dean McDowell. It is the most recent cutting from one of my plants that was another propagated plant that just kept on growing and growing and growing. And today I finally made the decision to cut, it off. And so it had been sitting there on the floor in the kitchen while I was doing the flowers, and I totally did not one bit acknowledge it, and I apologize for that, guys. But this is Hank. His name's not really Hank. I don't name my plants or cuttings for that matter. But what I need to do is that you can see in the mother plant where it came from. and that is, as I said, just another cutting of a different plant that was from the same plant. And I let this part callus over for several hours so I can put it in water, propagate it, and watch it root for the next couple of weeks. What I find interesting and fascinating about Philodendron Dean McDowell's as crawling philodendron is the fact that they root up really quickly, surprisingly quickly. Like within 4 weeks, I guarantee you, this plant will have long enough roots where it can be potted up and turned into another plant. In fact, what's interesting about these crawling philodendron, and I'm going to actually move over to give you guys a better look over here. Let's see, here I am. Ah! But you can see right here on the cutting, this area here, like this node, these nodes underneath here, these nodes here, that's exactly where the new root growth will come in from. And once the roots get to about, with this plant, I'd give them about 3 to 5 inches, 3 to 5 inches long, it will be ready to be potted up. And you can already see this is the new growth point on the crawling philodendron where a new leaf will come in. And there's a good chance that while it's being potted up in water and water propagating, that this new leaf will start emerging more. But hopefully by the time the roots come in, it'll be ready to be just potted up, so I don't have to worry about that. But I have had that happen in the past. And let's see here. We got some room temperature water. Yeah, we do. Okay. This was a vase that I got at like I think Ross. It was on sale for like $5, and I can't tell you like how often I use this thing, not just for propagating plants, like larger plants like this one, but I also use it when I'm not propagating plants in it. I also use it to just fill up with water and fill up my large humidifier because it just makes it so much easier and so much faster. So there we go. There is, let's just go with Hank. We'll call him Hank for the time being. And so Hank will grow roots eventually, and then we'll pot him up in a different video. But why don't you guys come back over here so we can continue on with the biggest plant tour of the night. Actually, before we carry on, and so I'm not rude again, one of our next steps is actually going to involve some more cuttings, which I'm not sure if you saw. We're in my oven, and those are cuttings that I took earlier of my philodendron burley marks. And what I plan on doing is putting them in the little propagation water vessels behind my desk because the global green pothos that I tried growing in there aren't doing too well. They weren't doing well to begin with, and we just need to get rid of them. And I know those burley marks will do just fine, and actually they root up really quickly too. But the big project tonight, guys, is this guy, who I have had for about 2.5, 3 years now. This is an Anthurium crystallina, one of my favorite plants, and it's so beautiful. In fact, this new leaf just came in like that, and it is stunning. But you will notice, my friends, that there is a lot of brown and crispy parts of it, and that is happening more frequently, which is strange to me because normally that happens when the humidity isn't high enough or good enough. But my place is like Brazil or Colombia, for that matter, when it comes to humidity and the way that I care for these plants, and it's situated right next to a humidifier. So since this is clearly not the issue, humidity, at least I'm hoping it's not the issue, the only other thing I could think of is that this Anthurium crystallinum has been in the same pot for the 2.5, 3 years that I have owned it. And my assumption, based upon my other Anthurium experience and other plant experience, is that it is running out of space. And so it is running out of space in there. Its roots have nowhere to go, and therefore it's causing leaf damage because, the energy is like, what's going on? And the plant's like, we don't have space. And so they're like, Kevin, please give us space. And so that's what I'm going to do. Anthurium crystallinum are not the easiest plant to take care of if you've ever tried owning one. And Anthurium crystallinum needs heavy humidity, warm temperatures, constant watering. It likes to be fertilized a lot. It's a heavy feeder. but it is well worth it if you get used to it, because this plant, the amount of beautiful velvety leaves that it puts out are just absolutely stunning. And I know that once I repot it into a larger pot, it's going to continue to push out brand new leaves. In fact, it's got some new little ones starting to grow in there. But because I don't want to disrupt the roots, and I've had this pot for 2.5 years, and while it is a very cute little peach pot, I've decided I'm going to hammer it out and just kind of crack it open and just say, the heck with the pot, it's fine. I'm more focused on the plant anyways. And you'll recall, if you watch my videos, the hammer technique. I mean, I used it more recently. I'm sorry! Please don't be upset with me! Oh, yay. And then prior to that, there was another video a couple months back where I did it initially. Here we go! Yay! And so now, my dear darling friends, it is time for us to do it yet a third time. And so we're just going to get into it because it's getting late and I want to shower and go to bed. So, sorry, Crystalline, embrace yourself for impact. All I need is that initial little piece to come off. And just like before, I was 100% accurate with this plant being insanely root bound. Look at those roots. Oh my gosh, this poor baby for like 2.5 years. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't like this for 2.5 years, but at least for the last year, this poor baby had nowhere to go. So we're going to give it a new home with more space to crawl into. And let me move this out of the way. This garbage can go in the garbage bag. Now that there's actually one in there. Problem solved. Just like that. Okay, so we are going to be gentle with these roots. They are thick roots, like most Anthurium have. In fact, actually, I don't know of any Anthurium that don't have thick roots. But what I want to do is just loosen it up a little bit, just so these roots will be able to freely move around without having to struggle too much to unwind themselves, I should say, from the rest of this mess. And this soil's still really good soil. I mean, this is a soil mix that I put together, a chunky aeroid soil mix that's very loose and airy. It has cocoa coir in it. It has some peat moss. It has some perlite, tons of perlite, soil, some activated charcoal to help ward off any bacterial growth or anything like that. And so I don't think I really need to like loosen it up too much. I just want to free these side roots. You see how thick those ones are? So I want them to have more space to be able to roam freely and run wild in nature. And by nature, I mean this new plastic pot. But that plastic pot's great because what it'll do is it'll give it more space. And it's the amount of space this plant at this point really needs to continue growing. In fact, it wasn't too long ago where I repotted my king Anthurium, my Anthurium veitchii. And when I did that, I mean, that thing's roots were insanely root bound, just like this. And once I moved it up into a larger pot, all of a sudden it started shooting out huge mature leaves, which you can see now as a result of that repotting. And so hopefully we'll have the same sort of success with this beautiful girl here, my Anthurium crystallinum, my original Anthurium crystallinum. I think I got this online, and I think it was from something from like maybe a Steve's Leaves or one of those websites, because I know I didn't buy it locally here in Denver because they were really hard to find at the time. And Anthurium are not the easiest plants to ship because they are very tropical and they do not enjoy cold climates or being left in the dark all the time like a, being in a postal box would cause and create. I think that's good enough, though. I think that I've got the roots where they can start crawling around now. And so let's take one last look at those roots. There we go. There's a better look. Isn't that just nuts? Like, to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's such thick roots. So what we shall do is take our box here, our container of chunky arid soil mix that I've already had pre-made. And actually, I picked this stuff up at Reroot, great local plant shop here in Denver, not too far from where I am. And yeah, it's only about a mile walk, and it's a nice walk too. So I'm going to use some more, put in there. And I had some like posts, some stakes, some clear ones in there holding up some of these stems, but I'm hopeful now that I'm repotting it that won't be necessary anymore, that this plant will just kind of be poking up towards any light, which will be great because I really didn't like having those uh, spikes in there. I just wanted its stems to be free. All I want is for these plants to live their best life outside of their natural habitat in my isolated habitat, where I isolate myself from others. Okay, so I'm gonna move this little trash bag out of the way. And let's just see how deep is it so far? Ooh, I think that's quite perfect. So I'm just gonna tuck the roots in there like so. And I want to give you guys a different look. Okay, so there really was nothing special about changing that angle around, but anyways, before I put it back in, I'm actually going to put some rooting hormone powder on just for, because I believe in it. It's supposed to help with, well, just a little bit of being able to transfer over easier for the roots. And when you look at those roots inside this pot, I mean, look at how thick they are. And clearly they needed more room to just be able to move around freely in here and continue to grow. And that's really what I've wanted to see with this plant, because I'll tell you what, after not knowing how to care for it when I first got it, so that was 2.5, 3 years ago, didn't know how to care for it, didn't know what an Anthurium needs, an Anthurium like this one especially, that's very sensitive and needs high humidity and good watering and all that good stuff. And not understanding that, the plant started to die pretty rapidly. But then I just made sure, I'm like, okay, I've already lost a queen Anthurium. I've lost this plant, and this plant. Maybe I should take some time to learn what these Anthurium want. And so I ended up getting a humidifier, and she bounced back. She started showing growth, and she was good to go. And that's what I like to see, and I want it to continue to grow just like that. And especially since it actually has the space now, it'll be really nice and lovely for this plant to thrive once again. But there is one other little tip and trick that I want to share with you guys if you didn't already know. And this is something that a lot of Anthurium really love. In fact, all of my Anthurium, I do it with them, especially the ones that are important care need ones like the crystallinum. But for that, we have to switch the angle again and move back up there. Because up there is where the sink is, and also where the next leg of our journey is here. And that is, and I didn't read about this until after trying it. I just wanted to give it a shot. So what I did was I initially took some sphagnum moss and I put a wet, warm layer on the top coating of the soil, like over here. And I did that because I thought to myself one day, I'm like, well, maybe this will help keep the soil, even though they like Anthurium, like loose, chunky aeroid soil mix, like what I provided it with, and for things to move and dry up pretty quickly. They do like to stay consistently moist because they're used to that tropical rainforest type environment. So I thought to myself, well, what if I took some wet sphagnum moss and I actually just kind of like put it around the top layer. That way it gives it some humidity, and it just kind of keeps the moisture down in there a little bit. And it turned out to work like a charm. And then I read up on it afterwards saying that, yeah, this is actually highly recommended for people who have rare Anthurium because they absolutely love it for that humidity reason, but also their roots, as they start to grow out, they like to latch onto it as well. And so that's what we're doing here is we are putting a nice layer of sphagnum moss over the top layer, and then we're going to give it a good watering as we would normally do after we repot something, especially since this plant has needed a good watering for, gosh, at least the last couple of days. I probably should have watered it yesterday, but I figured, what the heck, I'm going to make this video today, and it'll be fine. It is fine. I say that as I'm complaining about its leaves crisping up a little bit. So this will be it, and all I need to do is put this part, chop it up, and put it in there. And basically, just like with any other plant, I just kind of water over it. I mean, the water goes right through the sphagnum moss, and then it goes right into the soil, and then it comes out the bottom. And yeah, that sphagnum moss is nice because it really does provide a warm layer of humidity for the plant, especially being here in Denver, Colorado, even though I do keep the conditions in my urban jungle here really nice for tropical plants. You know, they can always use a little extra loving. Who can't, right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? You're like, no, you're wrong. Okay, so now we've got that covered up, and we shall commence watering. And like I said, they are heavy feeders. So in here, as noted in my probably my last 100 videos, that I mix their water with a fish fertilizer. I use Alaska Fish Fertilizer 511, which you can find on Amazon or usually at like your local Home Depot or Lowe's. And it's really cheap. And so I get it in bulk. And I always water my Anthurium and my alocasia with it year round because they are heavy feeding plants, and they really, really enjoy it. So while this baby is drying out, before I put it back up on its spot and wash off its leaves, I did mention those philodendron burley marks cuttings over here. But you know, I'm looking at the clock right there, and it's like 10:45 already. I'm tired. I want to shower. So what I'm going to do is, since I cut these today, I'm just going to let them callus overnight, which will be fine. And then I'm going to pot them up in the morning. But let's pretend that it's morning. We'll fast forward to that point, and this is what it looks like now behind my desk area where I have those water propagation vessels that used to have the global green pothos in them, which weren't doing well, but I know that the philodendron burley marks cuttings will do much better in here. And I also do like the fact that they're not vine plants and that they just kind of point out, and I like having that as a backdrop behind my desk while I'm working, and that is the only thing pretty much my coworkers see outside of, you know, my TV and what's behind me in that view. But it's also, you know, nice visually for when somebody walks in and sees that part of the hallway. But hey, now that this is taken care of and I want to shower, I want to thank you guys for tuning into another one of my planty videos. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that little notification ding dong bell so you can see more fun and interesting planty content just like this. I'll see you guys in the next video.